Welcome back to Beat Map Bat Rep. This is a Tyranids vs Necrons Planetstrike battle report. Going into Tyranids turn 2, rolling for reserves. Now it's a 2+ for everybody to come in. I believe the gargoyles are coming in. We can't see that die though. The other strikes are not coming in. The Trigon is coming in. The Doom Malatai is coming in. And the Hormigons are coming in. Yes, so there's the other gargoyles. They scatter pretty far, but they stay on the board. They're going to take care of those death marks. And then we've got the Doom of Malatai landing 6 inches away from both the Lich Guard and from the Immortals. The Trigon arrives as well, hopefully within charge distance. Thankfully he has fleet, so he can run during the shooting phase and still charge, because in Planetstrike, if you can deep strike, then you're allowed to assault after you deep strike. If you can't deep strike, then you're allowed to deep strike, but not assault. So now I've got some chewy targets to attack, and so the Hormigons and Gene Sealers and Shrikes are going to move up. The Parasite of Mortrex and his Gargoyles decide to go after the Immortals, because he's just not having any luck against that Bastion. And so he's going to be helped out by the Hormigons, the 3 Hormigont survivors there. Firing from the Gargoyles into the death marks, actually managed to inflict 4 wounds. He does save 3 of them, so one of them goes down. We'll see if he gets back up in a second. And then we forgot the Doom of Malatai. He destroys 3 of the Immortals. So 3 Immortals do go down, and that means his strength is now up to 7, and his wounds are up to 7. With the Lich Guard, they make their leadership test, so nothing happens there. He fires his Strength 7 AP 1 blast into the Lich Guard as well. It does scatter back a bit, but still manages to hit most of the Immortals, and it kills most of the rest of them, bringing his strength up to 10. He does lose D3, but it got so above the 10 that it didn't really matter. Unless you're supposed to bring it up to the max of 10 and then subtract D3. I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to work. Doesn't really matter, because tons of damage there. A few Immortals did stand back up due to the reanimations protocol. Looks like 5 of them stood back up. The Death Mark, who only gets to get up on a 5+, does not stand back up, unfortunately. And then the Trigon charges into one of the monoliths. So finally get to see if I can pry open some of that armor. The Gargoyles then decide to charge the Death Marks, because they're not going to be able to really stand up too well in close combat. Although they're not too weak. They do have a kind of a marine profile, but low initiative. Parasite and the Gargoyles charge in. The other Hormigons charge in as well. And we're going to hopefully destroy those Immortals in that close combat. And then the Shrikes charge into the Lich Guard. This is going to be a tougher fight, because the Gene Stealers are charging through cover, so their initiative is going to be 1. But we do have... And he has Mind Shackle Scarabs, too, on that one Overlord. So we'll see what happens there. The fight against the Death Marks we're going to do first. Hitting on 4s, but auto-wounding on 6s. And then getting to wound on 4s, re-rolling, because they have Toxin Sacs and Adrenal Glands. They destroy all of the Death Marks before they even have a chance to hit back. So that's nice. They don't have to worry about being tied up in combat with them. The Gargoyles then get to consolidate, and I just try to spread them out as much as I can. Only 4 hits in total against the Monolith. That one does nothing. That one does nothing. That one penetrates, and that one does nothing. So 1 penetrating hit, only managed to destroy a weapon. I do take out its main weapon, but still, would rather have immobilized it. But what are you going to do? Then fighting against the Immortals is going to cause some problems here. So what do we have for results here? That killed a couple of Immortals. 1 Immortal died because of that from the Hormigons. Then we get the Parasite. The Parasite, I believe, is the red dice in there. And he actually is responsible for killing the Overlord. And because of that, he has to make a toughness test, and I get to create Ripper Swarms if he fails it. Now his toughness is 5, so he has to roll... Oh wait, no, it was against one of the Immortals, so a toughness test of 4. So we'll see what happens there. And so the Overlord gets to hit back and does manage to kill a couple Gargoyles. And then we test to see if he stays put, and he does actually. So that's kind of good for me, because it means that he doesn't get to shoot at me during that turn. So we actually forgot to do the toughness test for the Immortals there to see if we created some Ripper Swarms. Mind Shackle Scarabs against the Gene Stealers. The Gene Stealers did fail it, but we'll see what happens next. The Warriors managed to kill 3 of the Lich Guard. Now the Lich Guard and Overlord hit back and actually roll pretty poorly for their rolls, but still managed to inflict a wound on the Warriors and 2 on the Gene Stealers. Now the Gene Stealers get to go next, but I killed the Gene Stealer that had the Mind Shackle Scarabs done to him, so he doesn't hit his own guys. And the Gene Stealers single-handedly finished off the Lich Guard. Now, does the Overlord stay put? Thankfully he does, because that means he can't shoot at the Gene Stealers and the Shrikes next turn, so that works out to my favor there. The Death Marks roll a 1, and they still can't come on, so they're not coming back on yet anyway. Everybody else moves a little bit just so I don't auto-hit in the assault phase, and then we get some auto-fire from the Heavy Bolters. They have to fire at the closest unengaged unit, and They fire back as well. Now this one actually I think wasn't supposed to. No, it was fine. It's not shaken at this point. And destroyed 2 gargoyles there. The other one gets 2 hits on the Trigun, but does nothing. The other one fires at the Mycetic Spore. Manages a hit and a wound. I do get a cover save against it, but fail it. The other ones fire at the Hormagaunts here. Manage 3 hits and 3 wounds, so kill 3 of the Hormagaunts. I'm going to try to pick them out here so that blast templates have less of an effect. Tries to insta-kill the Doom of Malantai, but it scatters off and it hits the Hormagaunts instead. It does manage to kill 4 or 5 of them there. Then he's going to do the Eternity Gate. 5 inches, everything has to take a toughness test or be sucked into the portal. 2 Hormagaunts out of the 3 there get sucked into that portal and they get removed there. Then all the Gargoyles and the Parasite have to roll as well. A few of them do save it, but there's a good 4 or 5 that die right there. And then the Parasite, who luckily has a strength... Sorry, it's a strength test, not a toughness test. And he makes his. He's a strength 6, so only a 6 would fail that. And then the Monolith is going to fire a couple of its Flare Arcs things at the Gargoyles. Took out a few of them. And it's fired another one at the Doom of Malantai and brings it down 1 of its wounds. So now it's only strength 9. And then it's going to try to insta-kill with its Battle Cannon. It does manage to hit. I do get a 3+ invulnerable save. Do I make it? I do, but the Mycetic Spore is destroyed. The Tesla Cannon coming from the Annihilation Barge fires. Unfortunately, rolls pretty poorly. I do make my my invulnerable save, so no damage there. Arcing off does not hit the Hormagaunts, does not hit the Gene Stealers. And does it hit the Hormagaunts? It does not, so no arcing fire there, so pretty useless for the Tesla Cannon that time. Rapid firing from the warriors inside the Bastion at the Doom of Malantai. Managed to take it down, another wound. And so it's down to strength 8. Rapid firing from the other Bastion, really trying to keep it down in its strength, because if it stays at strength 9 or 10, then it can take down those Bastions no problem. They get it down to 5 of its 10 wounds. And now in close combat, hitting on 4s, re-rolling. I managed 1 penetrating, that's a penetrating and nothing, so I guess it was one glancing, 1 penetrating. So I immobilized it, and he luckily with his living metal did not ignore the stun. So it's immobilized, which means next turn it is definitely dead, unless I leave it alone. Close combat with the Overlord. I get to hit him first and manage to kill it. He fails all his 3+ saves. And he fails his toughness save, which means I get D6 Ripper Swarms, which are completely useless in this game because they can't take objectives. And they can't really hurt anything either because they're just pretty crappy. And this fight, Mind Shackle Scarabs, I make my Mind Shackle Scarabs roll, but to be fair, he made his Doom of Malantai roll, so it's all fair. And then I managed to inflict 2 wounds onto the Overlord with the Gene Stealers, and then the Shrikes get to attack. And he saves that last wound, so he gets to fight back. He hits the Shrikes, he goes for them, manages 2 wounds on them, and kills one of the Shrikes. Which means it's tie combat. He did 2 wounds against me, and I did 2 against him. Which kind of sucks because it's my turn next, and I wish they were free to go and use the rending against monoliths or bastions or whatever they need to do. So looking at the fight, Planetstrike I find is bloodier than Apocalypse, it seems. That it's just everything's so close quarter that things die so quickly. We're only at the end of round 2, and look at all the carnage that's already happened. The monolith there is immobilized, lost its main weapon, and is shaken, so next turn hopefully it'll die. The bastions are fine, but the guys inside are a little hurt. Tyranids have taken heavy losses. The Necrons have taken heavy losses with their Immortals and Lichguard, but we are not anywhere near done yet. Stay tuned for round 3. Click the annotation or the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.